Story 1. Take out the chairs after every meal because you cannot keep the children occupied while I cook your meals. Okay, my husband and I have 2 children, both on the autism spectrum. About a week ago he got upset because our children were moving, tipping over and playing on our dining room chairs. They are plastic and metal and not too heavy. Instead of getting off his computer game and redirecting them into a better activity, he starts screaming at me about how I need to move the chairs to the day room, a garage that the previous owner started to convert into an additional room but never finished. We use it for storage after each meal. Then gets upset because moving all 4 is difficult and I would rather move 2 at a time. 2 of things to know: he is a huge gamer and the computer is in a room that serves as both living room and dining room. I have made a secret policy of my own. I will leave the chairs in the house till I need to remove them. If I need to remove the dining room chairs, then I also need to remove his computer chair. When I bring in the dining room chairs, I don't need to bring in his chair. He came home from work and immediately got in the computer for his nightly games so he can potentially win a bonus for playing every day for a month. He asked about the dining room chairs and I told him the kids were playing on the chairs as I took them out. A few minutes later he asks where his chair is. I responded that it is also out in the day room. He just stood there as I walked out of the room like he expected me to get it. I did not get it and I have every intention of moving it to the day room and leaving it there at every opportunity. Is it petty? Absolutely. Do I care? No. Do I find it a little funny? Yes, I can find amusement in little things such as making him get his own stuff instead of expecting me to deliver it to him. Lerny says, "Oh, who is going to tell her?" I'm not, because I can understand the whole situation being very overwhelming for everyone involved, but the solution to this isn't going to be easy. Cap'n_Quick says, "Yep, you've got a real manchild on your hands there. Does he expect you to cut up his food as well?" Babbitt5410 says, "Your hubby is the bigger problem. The chairs do not need to be removed from room. The kids need a place to play. The biggest kid of all is playing on computer. Allow your kids to be in same room as dad and play games in there when he is on computer. Kids need to know that they are not a bother, but hubby isn't doing THSD. Story 2. My neighbor liked to clean. 2001. I had just moved to a quiet neighborhood where my children 13 could play outside safely and grow up with neighborhood children. It was also nice for my cats 3 to finally be able to run around outside. After the first week it was our first garbage day. Everything neatly in closed bags and in our personal garbage container. In the morning we had to place the container on the side of the road with the rest of the containers on our street. So I put it there at 700, after which I started cleaning my house. I had a white floor, because I liked it and that way I knew for sure that it was clean. I mopped daily. I was still extremely clean at that time because of crawling children. Then I did the shopping and when I got home I was in shock after opening my front door. My entire hall was full of unknown waste. Clearly stuffed through the letterbox. I already saw a number of neighbors looking at me expectantly behind their windows and in front of their house. It was clear that they knew more. After asking around I was told who had thrown that garbage in my house. Conscious neighbor had done this with much fanfare. Something snapped inside me. A bomb in my frontal lobe and all decency disappeared from my mind. Steam from my ears. I cleaned out the trash and put the kids in the living room. Then I cleaned the cat litter box. Normally I throw the entire contents in a bag, but now I was a bit more precise. I only scooped the shit and urine clumps out of the box and divided it evenly into 2 small bags. 1 kilogram each. Those thin ones that tear quickly. I took the bags and went to the neighbor further down the street. I rang the doorbell and kept the bags behind me. The lady opened the door with a smug grin on her face. The door opened wide and I could quickly see her hall. On the right a carpeted staircase, on the left the open door to the living room. The hall continued for another 1.5 meters to the back after the stairs and door, where the toilet was. Everything was super clean. I asked her devilishly calmly if she had put that waste through my letterbox. Her answer was yes, followed by the reasoning that because I was new here, that the loose waste that was lying around the placed containers must have been mine, because before we lived here that never happened. This was the moment that all the blood vessels in my eyes burst. The calm was gone. In a tirade of abuse I made it clear to her that I had not been the polluter and that if she had any decency, she could have spoken to me instead of jumping to conclusions and dirtying my house and endangering my crawling children and animals by dumping that waste in my house like that. With the message that she liked to clean up so much, "Here please," and I threw the 2 bags in her hallway. One high against the corner of the stairs and the other on the doorpost of the living room. Everything, really everything was covered in shit and the splattered clumps of cat urine. With a warning promise that if she ever thought of doing something like that again I would smash all her windows. I turned around and went home. Everyone had seen and heard everything. Never heard anything from that neighbor again. No one ever thought of doing something like that to me again. I can still enjoy the face she pulled when she saw the bags flying. Tiki_Tavi says, a literal shit show for the neighbors to enjoy. Illuminatus Prime says, considering the neighbor's fallacious reasoning, false conclusion, and wrongful action, not to mention the endangerment to the health of you and yours, I applaud you for showing as much restraint as you did. Sure_comfort_7031 says, Op's neighbor is crazy. Op violates the Geneva Convention. I love it. Thanks for watching. I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.